Hey brats, welcome back to the channel. I am JBrat, and I wanted to say a quick thank you. There was such a positive reaction. So many people checked out the PSVR Mixed Reality Beat Saber video. I wanted to go through, enough people asked here and on Reddit, I wanted to go through and make a quick kind of how we did it behind the scenes video to explain it. And then if any of you want to try and make it, it's very painstaking and it's kind of hacky, I would say, to make it happen. So it's something cool to do for a video or two, just to make some different kind of content. But it's definitely not something you can really play enjoyably. So if you have any ideas in the comments of another way that it could have been done that might have actually been more enjoyable, I'd be interested in doing that, because it's not something I want to spend a lot of time going back to and doing again and again. It's just cool to make a video like it. So check it out and let me know what you think in the comments, and let's jump into the walkthrough. So ignore all the crazy wires, as this was right in the middle of setup here. But what you see here is one PSVR headset with a camera mounted to the top of it. So what the idea originally was that there's going to be two PSVRs in the room. One of them was going to have all its lights covered up, so that one would actually be the one that I'd wear on my face, and then the PS4 wouldn't be able to track that one, not seeing the lights, and then we would have this PSVR set up behind in the background. The PSVR would see that one in the back, think that's where the camera was, and then I would actually be able to stand forward, and that's how we would capture this third-person perspective. So the initial thought was to have this PSVR set up behind me. The PlayStation would think this was the PSVR we were playing with as it was sitting in the background. It would track that, and then I would still be able to be in VR playing Beat Saber. The problem that we ran into was, even though this PSVR was in the background, all the lights on my PSVR were hidden, it still recognized the accelerometers and the devices inside the PSVR headset that realized which way it was turning. So the problem was, when I was trying to play, the PlayStation thought the PSVR was behind me, but anytime this would turn, your camera angle that you're seeing the mixed reality would also be turning with that. And so that would make it look like the whole room was bouncing around and it was not reliable. So it wasn't working out. So what we ended up having to do, we ended up having to wire in the actual PSVR headset I was wearing into the original breakout box. So these two were wired together through an Elgato to capture the gameplay, wired into each other to then route my view of the cinema mode back through. And I had to actually play in cinema mode. So I had a 2D large screen in front of me of Beat Saber. I could see my controllers on that screen, but I was standing behind in the world, watching the notes coming at that, and then trying to swing at those notes, which made it extremely difficult to play. I had to play some songs that I knew really well, and even then I ended up having to put it on no fail, because the timing was so hard to get that enough notes right that I kept failing when I was trying to practice them. So you can see here the camera is attached to the top and facing the same angle that the PS4 is. And then now, wherever this is facing, that will still be capturing the green screen in real time. And you can see myself there in OBS in the background. So here you can see the camera from another angle. The cord, I did use an extension cable that I bought off Amazon to be able to reach this all the way across the room. This is the camera hanging up in the air, facing towards the play area. And then the cord just runs across the ceiling, hanging by these wire hooks that are hanging above. And that's why in the video you can actually see that camera showing up in the area. So in the footage behind me, you can see the camera actually floating in the zone above that, and then I just covered that duct tape with green gaffer tape to help that blend in. So obviously the camera itself was still showing, and I could have covered all but the two lenses in gaffer tape. That's something I didn't really think about. Maybe something I'll try next time that I do one of these, and then most of the camera wouldn't be visible, wouldn't be showing up ahead of the sabers here like they are. I'll have links in the description to the cable management wire hooks and the extension cable on Amazon in case you're interested in any of those for your own PSVR or any sort of VR setups. So then after I had recorded the footage, the gameplay footage was captured all through the Elgato Capture Card, and then my footage of myself holding the moves and moving was captured through OBS. Then I had to take it and try and align these two together so that everything matched up in the video. And then in changing the sizes, basically you're taking two different 2D video clip footage and putting them over each other, unlike traditional mixed reality on a PC where you still have some 3D elements to it. This was two 2D videos spliced on top of each other to then basically create the illusion of me being projected into the reality of the VR. So in the end, the PSVR that's on my head here is still lit up in the back because those lights always stay on in cinema mode. But if I turn to the side here enough anywhere, I don't know if I actually did. I probably didn't because I was having to stare at a 2D screen in front of me, directly in front of me, while trying to play this. So there wasn't as much ability or need to turn my head to the sides. But you would see that the lights actually aren't on the headset because I was using this in cinema mode and trying to play the song more from memory of the timing than from the actual being able to see, because in 2D it's really hard. You don't have much depth perception of when the notes are to this imaginary person where you just hear two controllers floating in front of you. So it was really difficult, and like I said, it was kind of hacky, but I still had a good time. I still was pretty happy with how the video turned out. As far as the world of PSVR Mixed Reality, we don't have many options, at least that I know of. If there's anything that you know that I could have done that would have actually made this easier, if there's anything as far as PSVR and Mixed Reality goes, it's really cool to play around with it, but it's also very difficult as there's not software that I know of that can hack into a PS4 and change the kind of things that like Live or Mixcast or something that I would normally use on a PC does. So I hope this was informative to you. I do want to say a huge thank you to all you who checked it out and those of you who actually came and watched the how-to because you wanted to know what was going on with it. I'm having a really fun time so far hanging out with everybody, doing this in VR and mixed reality, and just learning as I go and kind of growing this channel and hanging out with all of you. So I want to say thank you for hanging out with me today and all the videos that you have up till now. If you have any suggestions, anything as far as VR content you want to see, I want to get some new games that work well with mixed reality and really play around with them more. Blade and Sorcery is one that's probably at the top of my list, and I know they're still updating and adding to it, and it looks really cool, and it works with Live is the main software that I use for making mixed reality, and I really want to play around with that, so that's definitely one at the top of my list. But if there's something you want to see, let me know, hit me up in the comments, and I will see you in another game.